So here we are given two functions, f and g, and of course they're given to us graphically, and their quotient, which is defined by or defined for x greater than 0. And then what we have to do is that we have to find these three quantities, the derivative of h at 2, 3, and 4. So the first thing would be to just recall the quotient rule. That is that the derivative of h is given by, square of the denominator, and in the numerator we have the derivative of the numerator times the denominator minus that of derivative of the denominator times the numerator, right? Okay, so when we go for the derivative of h prime at 2 by that rule, what we have is, let's just look right here. First, we have to look at the value of g at where? At x equals 2, right? Which is right here. So the value is how much? This is 1, this is 2. So we will have 2 square, right? Now we have to look for the derivative of f at 2. Now, derivative of f from 0, or rather from right of -1 to the, or rather 2 up to 2, yeah, is the same because it's defined by a straight line. And if you look at the slope of the line, which will be the derivative, that's the line that connects 0, 4 with, this is 2, and this is how much 2? 0, 4 with 2, 2. So what is the derivative here at 2? That's the slope of the line joining these points. So that is 2 minus 4 divided by 2 minus 0. And that is going to be simply how much? -2 over -2 is -1. So the derivative of f at 2 is how much? That's a -1. All right. And then we have to write what? The value of g at 2. And how much is g at 2? That is simply 2, right? If you can just read it from the graph right here. And then we have minus the derivative of g at 2. Okay, so here is g. Now what happens here is that g, if we want to look for the slope of g at 2, okay, what shall we have is this, that is just the line that connects 0, 0, 2. This is, I think, 2.5, 2.5, right? Okay, so that's simply the line y equals x. So the slope will simply be 1 at the point 2, right? Okay, and then what we have to have? We have to have the value of f at 2, and the value of f at 2 is how much? That simply is 2, right? G and f, they intersect there, so their values are equal. So what do we get here? This will be -2, okay, because -1 is the slope of f, and this would be -2 as well. Downstairs we have 4, so we got what? -4 over 4, and the derivative here simply is what? Finally it is simply -1. So this becomes -1. Now what we have to do is we have to find the derivative of h at 3. So let's try repeating the same process. But when we try repeating the same process at 3, or rather at x equals 3, what we notice is this, that f is not differentiable at 3, right? So here we see a corner. So what we notice is f prime at 3, it does not exist, right? So since that does not exist, okay, what happens is that we cannot get the derivative at 3 for the quotient, okay, because the numerator doesn't have the derivative there in this case. All right, now we have to go to the derivative of h at 4. So the answer here is how much? Since that part doesn't exist, we have this does not exist. Now when we go for h prime 4, what we notice there is this, or when we look for that, what we have is, let's just repeat the process again, and we are almost done. So downstairs we have the same thing. So like we shall write the value of g at how much? G at 4. So 4 is right here. I made a mess here, right? So the value at 4 is how much? 2.5. So we will have 2.5 square here. Okay, and in the numerator we will have the derivative of f at 4. Okay, so here is our f at 4. So that is again this line segment, and line segment of the line that connects 3 1 with what? Here we have 5 3 1 with 5 3. Okay, so what's the slope of this line? The slope of this line is 3 minus 1 over 5 minus 3, and you can see it from the graph that simply is 1. So that becomes simply 1. All right, f prime at 4. And if you look at g prime at 4, sorry, g at 4, then g at 4 is how much? That is simply 2.5, right? Because that's what this is. This is just going horizontally in this segment, and then minus, we will have the derivative of g at 4, but you can see this line is horizontal, so that value will be 0. And so if when we do this, when we multiply by the value of f, which happens to be at 3, which happens to be 1, still we will get a 0. So what we get here is 1 over 2.5, or as a fraction you can write it how much? 2 over 5. Okay, so let me know if this is not clear. All right.